Hey everyone, it's January 8th, and that means that if today is your birthday, you share it with serial killer William George Bonin, known as the Freeway Killer, who may have murdered as many as 44 teenage boys in the late 70s and early 80s. And that is him right up there. Bonin was born in Connecticut in 1947, being raised by a violent alcoholic father who had such a gambling problem that he once lost the family home. His mother sent him away when he was just 6 years old, placing him in a French-American Catholic orphanage where he was molested by older boys at the facility and beaten by the staff. When an older boy tied him up during his abuse, he took note, and this later became part of his MO. Bonin returned home at the age of 8 and was largely neglected by his parents for the remainder of his adolescence. The family moved to Southern California in 1962, and at the age of 18 he joined the Air Force and spent time in Vietnam, returning to the area after his enlistment. In 1969, Bonin was convicted of kidnapping, child molestation, sodomy, and forcible oral copulation after molesting multiple victims. He was back out on the streets after spending 5 years at a mental hospital when psychiatrists believed him to no longer be dangerous. They were wrong because 2 years later he was convicted of kidnapping and raping a 14-year-old boy. Released again on parole in 1978, he soon embarked on a murder spree in Southern California. Bonin had a series of young accomplices who also participated in his crimes, in which he would drive around on the freeways of Southern California looking for hitchhikers or runaways. His accomplices would help him entice victims into his van, where they would bind, beat, and molest their victims before strangling them, even stabbing a few with knives and ice picks. During this time, he was picked up for violating his parole, but after just a brief stint behind bars, he was back out and resumed where he had left off. With his history, officers finally began tailing Bonin as the bodies piled up and picked him up after 10 days of surveillance when they caught him in the act of sodomizing a boy in his vehicle. His accomplices were also apprehended, and they all confessed fully to their crimes, giving plenty of evidence that was used against him. Bonin confessed in an interview to 21 murders and was convicted of 14 killings in the Los Angeles and Orange counties in 1982. He's also strongly suspected of killing as many as 30 other victims in adjacent counties, but was never prosecuted for those murders. During his trial, a reporter testified that Bonin had told him that if he were still on the street, he would still be killing, and that he found it easier and easier after each kill. Another serial killer, Randy Kraft, known as the Scorecard Killer, was active at the same time, and with similar methods of killing, it's difficult to know exactly how many victims each had. You can learn more about him in my video from March 19th. His accomplices remain behind bars to this day, while Bonin spent the next 14 years on death row at San Quentin before becoming the first California inmate to be executed by lethal injection. If this is your birthday, I hope you have a great day. Leave me a comment so I can wish you a happy birthday. If you know someone whose birthday it is today, send them this video so they can find out all about their birthday twin. And to William George Bonin, I say, happy birthday, you bastard.